I'm mindful of time, but I absolutely want to hear from all the speakers before we disband for the night about something that I've been thinking about is all three of you have years, not decades of experience working not only at the hyperlocal, the regional, but also the national levels, right, in your countries. In all of your years of experience, is there a particular story or a particular strategy that you have encountered which has given you hope in what sometimes looks like an impossible fight that is also changing every day, right? The terrain is changing every day. Is there a story that comes to mind when you think of hope? It doesn't have to be this on a huge scale. It could be 1%, but is there something along those lines that you would like to share with us?
Yeah. There's so many stories of hope from where I stand. And one of them is seeing a bit of incremental change. It's slow, but it's there. Seeing that that many people are listening, they have come on board, they are joining you to further the pursuits, the causes that you are pursuing. In the case of Uganda, you find that many young people, and that wasn't common, but many young people are very civically engaged now. They have taken over social media, and they use social media to criticize government, to call out all these ills, and that gives you hope that eventually we will be enough to outnumber our tormentors. That's what we call them here, or the corrupt or the dictators. I think the other thing is that you get recognized for the work you've done. You meet people that tell you they appreciate your work or they have been impacted by your work, and that is very, very encouraging. So yeah, it seems that when you have started to think whether this is all worth it, sometimes I go to bed wondering, or whether anything will change. Yeah, then you see a small change and you take small wins. Yeah, I think earlier I forgot something very important that I should have mentioned about how disinformation really influenced the debate on anti-homosexuality. And it was in that sense that they wanted the entire population behind them to forget about, and by them I mean Parliament of Uganda and the MPs. So there was this disinformation about we need to protect our male children, we need to protect the boys, the homosexuals are recruiting people. There was nowhere. No one produced any reports. No one produced any evidence of recruitments of young boys. But also no one produced any. We have police produces the crime reports here. The children that are being abused are girls who are abused by heterosexuals. So but that worked a lot on a very gullible population, and some people that you'd have thought understand this. So yeah, it really disinformation has worked in many cases and has worked against many freedoms of other people. So that is an investigation we are still doing at Agora, and we hope that one day, even if it is too late, maybe it's not, seeing as the law is still before the Supreme Court, that we will have data, stories backed by evidence and whatever to show that this was all disinformation. Yeah, but well, as for hope, there's little, but there is some. It is there. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Agatha. Anish, putting you on the spot for hope.
No, I want to echo what Agatha says. I think the messages of support that come in for the work that you do really mean so much. And I think even at a time when you do feel isolated, when you do feel like you're up against a big bad machine that has more power and more resources than you ever will, it's good to know that at least your voice is resonating with someone. I think the small message of hope that I'd like to sort of share is that we forget often that it does take a very long time to change people's minds. And I think when we're confronted with this hate, when we're confronted with the volume of people who, or the sheer number of people who seem to be buying into this propaganda and into this disinformation, we forget that the groundwork for this was laid over the course of decades, right? By sort of organizing that happened at the ground level through institutions and organizations that have been operating in these spaces at the village level, at the community level, at the religious level. And so, in many ways, people have been primed for this sort of disinformation to work, but they can be convinced otherwise. And I'll tell you a small example. My own father, who used to support the Prime Minister back in 2014, and we used to have incredibly sort of long and heated debates about why he did so. And over the course of the last 10 years, I've gotten him to change his mind. And he's finally seen that a politics of conviction that continues to believe in values despite any electoral or material reward is valuable, because that conviction is a reminder that in this age where we're taught that might is right, in this age where we're sort of made to believe that only tech billionaires will rule the world and whatever they say is the law, the radical potential of activism is in its almost foolhardy belief in values, even when they don't yield any direct results. And I think at some level that resonates with people. And a sort of sharing of values does lead to transformative actions. And so that's the little message of hope I'd like to sort of leave here.
Thank you. And a story so close to home, quite literally. Maureen, let's hear from you.
Yeah, I think a story of hope and resilience is that we are already resisting, and the powers that be are very uncomfortable right now. They might have all this they might have all this money, they might have all the power and the status, and they might look upon us as just peasants to manipulate the world with misinformation disorder. But I think we're on the right track, because now people are able to clock what is misinformation, what is disinformation, and people are building communities of resilience against big tech information disorder. So that's it. Like, we've already started. We are building community. We know what we are up against. So I am not despairing. We are on the right track.
Thank you so much, Maureen, and all three of you. We have so many questions actually that have come in that I regret to say we might not have time to get to. But what I will say is that if you would like to follow us on our socials, we're going to be coming out with a lot of stuff, and a lot of it will answer some of your questions as well. So those of you who have been generous enough to leave us questions, we want to continue the conversation with you. So please stay connected with us. Also a reminder that we have our second webinars of the series coming up at the end of this month. So please stay tuned. Please keep a lookout and join us for that as well. But for now, I would like to say thank you. First, of course, to our incredible panelists for sharing so openly and with so much vulnerability, for not just because the impacts of disinformation have not just been on your professional lives, they have been on you also as individuals, as humans. So thank you for bringing so much of yourself also to this webinar. We're deeply grateful to you for all of your time and your wisdom. We'd love to stay connected with you as the campaign progresses. So thank you, Agatha, Anish, and Maureen. I'd like to thank the APC team, the Women's Rights Program team, and the tech team. We could absolutely not have done this without you. So thank you so much for everything, from the infrastructure that enabled us to do this, from step one to seeing us through to this. I'd also like to thank the OVOS Consortium, which is why we're here, and of course, the TFBC team. Thank you so much for joining us today. Thank you to the audience who stayed right through the very end. We're so thrilled that so many of you joined us here today. We will be in touch. We'll share recordings, we'll share stuff from the webinar. Please stay connected via our socials. We have lots of good stuff coming your way, and we will see you soon. So good night, and good day, good afternoon, wherever you might be, and take care.